Buenas chicos, bienvenidos una vez más a una entrevista aquí en Full Esports. Hoy estoy con MitchMan McBride. Él es un comentarista para Valorant Masters en Reykjavik, que se va a celebrar la semana que viene. Welcome, Mitchman.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you here. How
I'm
you?
happy to be here. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling good. It's been a good day. I got vaccinated. I went for a walk in the sunshine. It's been pretty good so far.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that. So let's start. Who is Mitchman? Could you tell us a little bit about your job as Valorant commentator and as an analyst for Alliance?
Yeah, sure. So as a commentator, I started in Counter Strike. I was in love with that game for many
Mhm.
many years. Still am a little bit. But Valorant really yes was boring. It got too stale. It wasn't being updated. Same maps. Like it's just the same game it was 10 years ago. At least when I was there, things have started to change more
Mhm.
recently. And so when Valorant was announced, I thought it could be a new opportunity. It sort of sparked a lot of curiosity in me. I started playing the game, fell in love with it, wanted to cast it from the beta. I did a couple of events back then, and things just kind of picked up since then. So I've been part of the top level circuit since pretty much going back to the very first couple of Ignition series.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was covering those for a long time. Got picked up by Riot to do First Strike, and then I've been on Valorant Champions Tour or VCT ever since, just commentating away and enjoying like learning how to play by play, which has been pretty fun.
Yeah, indeed. I love when you do your I don't know when you analyze every play and I don't know with the with that huge TV
Oh,
and
the
then
big screen.
yeah
Yeah,
with the
that
big
was really cool. That's the
yeah
one thing that like I really miss about studios is having those kind of tools
yeah.
like at First Strike where you're talking about the big TV telestrator we got to like draw on. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
actually that kind of leads into the work with Alliance because I was
Mhm.
watching pretty much all the top level Valorant and I'm watching it from different regions as well to learn from their commentary style and to just see the differences between how we played it here in Europe and EMEA and how they played it in, say, America or how they played it in Southeast Asia and so on. And so then obviously I was following the game. I knew a lot about it. And so when I heard that Alliance were looking for an analyst and they wanted to build a roster, I thought, hey, I'd be willing to give it a shot. James Banks was their general manager. He knows me
Mhm.
very well. Obviously, we commentated together for a long time. And so he reached out and said, listen, if you want a shot, come along. We'll take a risk on you. And yeah, I think it paid off. 2 months later, we were in the Masters event, the first Masters event, which was insane. And since then, it's just been like putting in the hours, putting in the hard work to hopefully get back to that level.
Yeah. It was a very huge, I don't know, it was a massive ride. And I've seen you grow and I don't know, it was amazing for me and I don't know, the development, okay? And it was cool. And okay, let's talk about the balance and patches, recent patches. Yoru was the agent with the lowest pick rate in the game before the exploit, and we talked about the exploit in a few articles we have. And do you think Breeze will affect Yoru's pick rate in games in the future, or it will be the same? I mean, in
Uh,
competitive.
I mean, it depends. It depends on the region. Like in the EMEA, we don't use them at all, but we're starting to see it spreading out a little bit further into the more eastern regions. I think that Breeze especially opens up a lot more opportunity for Yoru to be used. Like his flashes work really well on that map because it's so open. You can get them pretty much anywhere and surprise your enemies. TPs can actually be undetected for what I think is the first time because there's just so much open space that you can actually manage to sneak it by them at times. His ultimate can clear a lot of these wide open angles you're going to want to walk through. So I think that he's pretty useful there. I don't know within European Valorant if we're going to see him really take off. Like I've seen teams experiment with him, but like in scrims, but never really. Like you'll see them experiment with him 1 week, and then they'll be back to an old comp afterwards because they realize it just doesn't bring enough value. So I think even with Breeze, we're going to need to see a little bit of a change to Yoru before he's like a key part of any sort of composition.
Thank you. And what do you expect to see on this Valorant Masters in Reykjavik? Which teams are your favorites? Is Europe better than NA or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we are. Come on. Come on. So much better. I mean, even 10 said it in a recent tweet. He said in terms of, ranked, NA is better. Like it's a better experience. But when you're coming to scrims, when you're coming to teams, EU just takes the cake, and I love that take from Tens because I 100% agree. Fnatic, Liquid, they should be trashing version 1 and Sentinels. I'll accept nothing less. And when we talk about my favorite teams in this, I put out a tweet saying like which like my rankings of the orders that they'll come in,
Mhm.
and it's like Fnatic, Liquid, Sentinels. Then between like New Turn and Vikings, I see those as like the upset potential. Like, these teams are good. I have a lot of respect for them. Don't think they'll beat like your Fnatic, your Liquid, your Sentinels, but they're the teams with the best chance to perform that upset and really shake up international Valorant.
Yeah. Uh, on May 25, we will see a like a final on the upper
Yeah.
bracket, and a lot of people says that Sentinels versus Fnatic can be a tight game. Who do you think will win?
I mean, EU, of course, it's Fnatic. They're gonna
So
take that
Fnatic.
so easily now. I do think it's gonna be a close game. I really think like that is the game. When I saw the brackets, I was like, oh yes, let's go, because that's the one I want to see. In my eyes, Fnatic have already beaten Sentinel's approach. Like they took down Gambit, and that is pretty much when I look at the two games, they're as close to Sentinels as you're gonna get. I think that in firepower, Sentinels might even have them beat. But honestly, Fnatic's game plan and their ability to Andy Strat, I think they're already preparing for that game, knowing that, their first match they should be winning versus Crew. Sentinels is the big opponent for them. It's the exactly as you said, the final. But to me, it's like a 2-1 victory to Fnatic, a really tight one. I think they'll edge it out.
We will see. We will see. So this is the first LNA event, IRL, for Valorant. And what does it mean to you? What we can expect as fans? What we can see on this event?
Yeah, like the first line is a huge thing because it's international, right? Like we've had some events. I think Korea's been running lands for a bit. I think Japan did a couple of lands in the early stages of COVID as well. So because they had everything so heavily under control for a while. So within those regions, we've already seen LAN events, but internationally, bringing all of these teams, it's like a melting pot of strategies, approaches, not just in agent picks, but in how they like to play the map, in the pacing of rounds. Like everything about this is going to be a clash of styles, regardless of which teams are facing each other. And for me, that's a great opportunity, I think, to sort of figure out, as small a sample size as it will be, what the kind of the ace up the sleeve strategy is. What way can like rock beats scissors and scissors beats paper and so on. Like figuring out those elements of the game and how other regions adapt to these plays is going to be super super interesting. As fans, I think you're going to see a new face to these teams because they're not playing against someone that they're familiar with. This is going to be very much out of your comfort zone, but also a lot more hype because now we get content where the players are physically there, right? They can record stuff. It's a shame that we're all going to be working from home, like on the talent side of it and the broadcast side, but production are there, so I'm sure they're going to be recording content with the players. You're also going to see like maybe some LAN jitters because, as far as I'm aware, at this point, players will be able to see the other team, and that's something that can really get in your head. If you lose a round and over the other side you hear that team cheering, and I think that's something Brazilian teams do especially well. It's going to be really interesting to see how some of these teams deal with that added little layer of pressure.
Yeah, I've seen those pop-ups. Oh my god. Okay, so it's been a crazy journey, and Valorant was born during the COVID crisis, and this tournament will be the place to celebrate the first year of the game. How was the COVID? How has, sorry, the COVID crisis affect the community development in Valorant?
I think there's been a bunch of different ways. Obviously, like one of the main things when you talk about comic cons and these sort of community events that go on, having Valorant placement there would have brought in a lot more people. First of all, like introduce them to the game. That's how I learned about Overwatch. For example, I was working a LAN event, I saw it on the screen and thought, oh, that looks kind of fun. I regretted it afterwards. But the everyone that got into Overwatch did. But yeah, the thing about COVID as well, there were issues when they rolled it out, right? Like in terms of setting up servers and testing all that sort of stuff. Like on a technical side, it affected the Valorant community, but also just not being able to have those events that really glue you together. Like when I first got into Counter-Strike, the main thing for me that kept me interested and engaged was like these IEM Katowicas, massive stadiums, and I knew I can go there with my friends, like from school at the time. We can go there, we can watch the games, and we can be around like 10,000 other people who also love this game and experience that. And that's an unbelievable feeling to be surrounded by the community in that physical environment and to hang out with them outside of the games. And so I think that's definitely been a blockade to developing more of a sense of community as well as bringing new people in, because whenever you have those like main event or main stage events at comic cons and this sort of stuff, just naturally those people walking by go, "Hey, what's that? I want to throw flashes
I want
around
to play
corners and
it.
stuff." Exactly, exactly. It brings new
Yeah.
people into our community. So I think Valorant's going to grow a lot once the COVID pandemic's over.
Yeah, I think so. I think that too. It's a very nice game and I love playing it. So to finish this interview, let's look at the future. Which are your expectations for the game in the next year? Which regions should be rising in the next tournaments? Will it be a clear dominance? Will EU dominant will be dominant or?
That's a good question, honestly. Like, I think that within the regions, this tournament's going to answer a lot of questions, but on a very small scale. Just because, for example, the Korean team goes out or the Japanese team goes out in the first round, let's say, or well, the first lower bracket round, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're doomed, that their region is done for. Everybody has bad tournaments and bad games, so the one thing I don't want to see is people drawing set conclusions. For example, EU versus NA. Just because EU beats the NA teams and destroys them doesn't mean EU is better than NA. We all know it is, but that doesn't prove it. We need many more EU victories to really cement that. And I think that when we talk about what regions will be dominant in the future, naturally I'm going to go with EU and NA. They are just the biggest in the majority of FPS titles, but I can say the Koreans are super hungry to get in there, man. Like they have not had a tactical FPS, I'll put it that way, title that they've been kind of dominant in as a region. They haven't had that. They want to. In the early days of CS, they were up there, but they faded away. And now when you look at top 20, top 30 teams, I don't think there's even a single Korean player up there in that bracket. So this is their opportunity to come in because they are really good. Like I've been watching a lot of their VODs. We've been scrimming them a little bit as well. I'm feeling really good about what I'm hearing about this Korean team, about the Korean region in general. So I think they're ones to keep an eye out on. Surprisingly, well, maybe not so surprising if you're from Counter Strike. The Brazilian region has a lot. I mean, we talk about like your Game Landers, but Vikings are scary. I don't want to be playing against them at any stage. So those are the ones that I'd look to kind of come up if it's EU and NA, Southeast Asia, and that sort of region. Like they've always been a mid tier sort of at the top level within the region. It's always been like middling tier on the international stage. And from what I'm seeing, I don't expect much to change, but I'm happy to be surprised.
Yeah, we all do. I don't know. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate your insight since you are there, you are an analyst, you're a commentator, you live and breathe Valorant. So your opinion means a lot for us. And in Spain, yes, you're a figure, and everyone has their eyes on you. And yeah, thank
Gonna
you
make
very
me
much.
blush.
Thank you very much. I really hope to see Brazil to step up, and I don't know, and maybe Crew can give you a surprise from Latin America. We don't know.
Maybe. They got a tough opponent of Fnatic in the first round. I
Yeah,
mean, we know he used the
yeah.
best, so I'm not feeling good for them. But hey, good Valorant is good Valorant. I don't care where it comes from, what region it's from. I just want to see the best of the best, and whatever region that tends to be, I'll be happy.
Okay, so this is it. Thank you very much, and see you next
No
time.
problem.
Bye.